Kia ora, Year 9. In this video, I'm going to start going through the JAF practice questions, and I'm going to focus on the equation solving ones first. So it's questions 23 to 33. Here they are here. I'm not sure if I'm going to get through all of them in one video. All of them are not in context problems, so we're just practicing pure algebra skills without babysitters or plumbers or electricians or anything real life like that. So it's a bit boring, but just let's see how we go. So we'll start with number 23. And we've got negative 2x divided by 3 is equal to negative 4. I'm going to start by multiplying both sides by 3, and I get negative 2x is equal to negative 12. And now I divide both sides by negative 2, and I get x is equal to negative 12 divided by negative 2, which gives me positive 6. Now, if you want to, as you're going through, you can show what you're doing on each side, but you don't have to do that. Right, so here, what have I done? Well, I've multiplied by 3, okay? Or you can use a bubble diagram. But the main idea is that we're backtracking to end up back at the start where x is equal to 6. Number 24. So we have 3 minus 5x is equal to 2. Let's just put a wee line in here. I need to get all of the x's on one side and all the numbers on the other side. So here I've got, on the left-hand side, I've got mixed up x's and numbers. I'm going to start by subtracting 3 from both sides. So that will give me negative 5x is equal to 2 take away 3. That gives me negative 5x is equal to negative 1. Now I need to divide both sides by negative 5. So we have x equals negative 1 divided by negative 5, or x is equal to 1/5. Now, if we take that answer and we chuck it back in here, we can check that we've got it right. 3 take away 5 times 1/5 is equal to 3 take away 1, which equals 2. So that's good. On to number 25. 9x plus 2 minus 5x is equal to 6. I'll squeeze that one in down here. 9x plus 2 minus 5x equals 6. So before I start doing anything complicated with doing the same thing to both sides, I can collect up my like terms here. On the left-hand side, I get 4x plus 2 is equal to 6. Subtracting 2 now gives me 4x is equal to 4. Right, so I'm subtracting 2 from both sides. Oops, I've still got the leftover bit down there. And what does that give me? Well, now I've got 4 times the number is 4, so we divide both sides by 4, and we get x equals 1. Okay, number 26. 3 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 6. There are several ways to proceed here. I could expand the brackets, or I could recognise that I've got 3 times all of the stuff in brackets. So I can divide both sides by 3. So we'll do it this way first. I get 2x plus 1 is equal to 2. Right, so I've divided this side by 3, and I've divided this side by 3. That now gives me 2x is equal to 1. I've subtracted 1 from both sides. And lastly, I divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 1/2. Right, so that worked quite well here, and it worked because 3 here is a factor of 6. But the other way that I can go is I can expand those brackets. And then this is what I'm going to do. I've got 3 into 2x plus 1 equals 6. And I can expand out this side. So 6x plus 3 is equal to 6, giving me 6x is equal to 3, right? So I'm subtracting 3 from both sides. Lastly, I'll divide by 6, and I get x equals 3/6. But we don't want to leave it like that. We need to simplify it down to x equals 1/2. Okay, so 2 ways to do the same question, which is something you'll find quite often with algebra, especially as we get to more complicated questions. So number 27 is coming up next. And for number 27 on, pretty much, we've got x's on both sides of the equation. So for these next ones, 27 to 31. So 2x take away 1 is equal to x plus 5. 2x take away 1 is equal to x plus 5. So let's get all of the numbers together and all of the x's together. Well, I've got a takeaway here, and I like adding better than subtracting. So we're going to do this. 2x, take away 1, and this time, because we're just remembering how to do these ones, I'm going to write that balancing step out explicitly. That means that on the left-hand side, I've now got 2x equals x plus 6. Next, I see that I can subtract x from both sides. And that gives me 2x take away x equals x plus 6 take away x, leaving me with x is equal to 6. Right, so I'm just going to go through and show you which lines are kind of compulsory. Well, this is the line I started with. I don't have to show this line, but then I should show this line because it's showing the reader who's familiar with algebra what I've done here. I've added 1 to both sides. And then I don't need this line, but I do need this line, which is my final answer. Okay, let's take a look at number 28. So 28 is 9x plus 1 equals 4, take away 2x. Let's first of all deal with this plus 1. I'm going to subtract it from both sides. So I have 9x equals 4 minus 2x minus 1. That gives me 9x is equal to 3 minus 2x. Now I'm going to add 2x to both sides, and that will give me 9x plus 2x is equal to 3. 11x equals 3. So now dividing through by 11, x is equal to 3 over 11. Let's look at question 29. So in 29, I've got brackets and x's on both sides. The best thing to do here is to expand out both lots of brackets and then see what I've got. Right, so 2 into x plus 1 is equal to 3 into x take away 1. Expanding out gives me 2x plus 2 equals 3x minus 3, which looks pretty good. I'm going to start by subtracting 2 from both sides. I get 2x equals 3x minus 3 minus 2. 2x is equal to 3x minus 5. Now, I've got numbers here, so I'm going to keep the numbers over on this side. That means that I need to subtract 3x from both sides. As usual, there are several ways that we could do this one, but this will work fine. So I have 2x minus 3x is equal to negative 5. 2x minus 3x gives me negative x. Negative x is equal to negative 5. So x is equal to just plain old 5. So what am I doing here? Well, I'm dividing both sides by negative 1. Okay, so that was question 29. Let's now look at question 30 and question 31. Oops, so I'm run out of space. So I just have to remember what the equation is. Here's number 30. 2 times x minus 1 is equal to 2x minus 2. Well, this is interesting. What happens? Well, if I expand out this, I get 2x minus 2 is equal to 2x minus 2. So what number is that true for? Because that's what we're asking when we've got an equation. Is it true for, so I could keep going, right? And I could add 2 to both sides, and then I'll get 2x is equal to 2x minus 2 plus 2. 2x is equal to 2x. And then I could divide both sides by 2, and I'll get x is equal to x. So what we've got to ask is for what number is x equal to x? And the answer is x can be any number. In other words, we say there are an infinite number of solutions. Okay, so sometimes we don't have a single answer. We call the single answer a unique solution, and we feel really good when we get that unique solution. Sometimes we're going to get 2 solutions, sometimes we'll get no solutions, and sometimes we'll get an infinite number, which is the case here. So if you go back to the first one, you can see no matter what number I make x, this will always be a true statement. So try that out. Try putting in 735 on each side and checking that they're the same thing. Right, well, that was fun. Let's go on to the one after it, because I think you're going to find That's number 30. Oh, let's do number 31. Right, I need a little bit of room. So number 31 goes like this. I've got 4 times 3 minus 2x is equal to 5 minus 8x. This also looks like it's going to be an interesting one. So let's expand out the brackets. We get 12 minus 8x is equal to 5 minus 8x. So we can look at that already and see that there's something very strange going on. We're trying to find the values or the numbers that will make that a true statement. So we can start mechanically doing our usual thing. And I'm going to add 8x to both sides. So I get 12, take away 8x plus 8x is equal to 5 take away 8x plus 8x. Then that tells me that over on this side I've got 12 and on this side I've got 5. So that's quite odd. Is there any value of x that will make this a true statement? No. So this is never true. Right, 12 and 5 are not the same thing. So there's no value of x that is a solution to my original equation, which was 4 times 3 minus 2x equals 5 minus 8x. So when you first look at this, you can't see that straight away. But as soon as you've expanded out those brackets, you see when we go back up here that you've got 12 take away 8x is the same as 5 take away 8x. Okay, so that just doesn't make sense. There are no x values that make that true. Let's see how many of these equation ones we've got left. Right, I've got 32 and 33. So I'm going to squeeze at least 32 into this video. Okay, I'm going to go back up here and do it at the end of this page here. So 32 goes like this. I've got 3 times 2x minus 4 minus 2 times 3 minus x is equal to 5. Now the method here is pretty similar to what I used before. I'm going to expand out the brackets, but there's one place I've got to be super careful, which is here where I've got this negative sign. So looking at this, I'm going to have 6x minus 12 minus 6. Right, now here's the tricky bit that people forget all the time. A negative times a negative is a positive. So it's negative 2 times negative x, and that gives me plus 2x. That equals 5. First thing to do here is to clean up my like terms on this side. I get 8x minus 18 is equal to 5. 8x is equal to 5 plus 18, which is 23. That's not a particularly lovely number, but I get x is equal to 23 on 8, which we can write more nicely as 2 and 7/8. So that's that one. Wonder if I can squeeze in question 33 before the video runs out. Let's see. 33, yep, I think I can. 2n minus 5 over 3 minus 6 equals 10. 2n minus 5 over 3 minus 6 equals 10. Let's just check that I've written that down right. 2n minus 5 over 3 minus 6. Yep. Okay, the first thing to notice here is think about how that equation got formed and go watch the video that I've done of Don Stewart's problems where there are 10 equations. So this equation started out with an n. We times it by 2. That gave me 2n. And then I took away 5. And then I divided by 3. And then I added 6. So the first thing I do to unwind here is I add 6. So working very fast now, because I'm going to run out of time. 2n minus 5 over 3 is equal to 16. Now we're back to an easy one. 2n minus 5 is equal to 48. 2n equals 53, so I'm adding 5 here. And lastly, dividing by 2, I get n is equal to 53 on 2. 53 divided by 2, or n is equal to 26 1/2. Right, guys, now I've done these in quite a hurry without written solutions next to me. So I'm really hoping that one of you is going to tell me if I've made any mistakes. Please leave me a comment and let me know if this was useful. I'll do some more JAF practice questions tomorrow night.